Proverbs chapter 11, the rewards of righteousness and the ruin of wickedness. Proverbs chapter 11 presents a rich tapestry of moral instruction, wisdom, and divine principles, drawing a sharp contrast between the righteous and the wicked, the wise and the foolish, the generous and the greedy. At its core, this chapter teaches that living with integrity, humility, and righteousness not only pleases God but also brings tangible benefits in this life and beyond. Conversely, dishonesty, pride, and wickedness lead to ruin, shame, and ultimately death. The chapter opens with a statement about honesty in daily dealings. Dishonest scales are an abomination to the Lord, but accurate weights delight him. This sets the tone for the rest of the passage, emphasizing that God is deeply concerned with justice, fairness, and truth. It is not merely outward religious behavior that matters, but the ethical choices made in everyday life. The prideful, it says, are destined for disgrace, while humility leads to wisdom. This principle reflects a recurring biblical truth: God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. The contrast between integrity and perversity underscores that righteous living is not just morally superior but also practically beneficial. Those who live honestly are guided safely, while the deceitful ultimately self-destruct. Wealth and power, often seen as signs of success, are shown here to be unreliable, especially in the day of wrath. Material possessions cannot save a person from judgment, only righteousness can deliver. This message cuts against the grain of a materialistic worldview, reminding readers that spiritual character outweighs financial gain. The chapter reiterates this truth by showing that the righteous are consistently delivered from trouble, while the wicked face the consequences of their own actions. Even death offers no escape for the wicked. Their hopes die with them. In contrast, the legacy of the righteous endures. The power of words also takes center stage. A hypocrite can destroy a neighbor with their speech, but knowledge and wisdom can bring deliverance. The impact of moral character extends to the community level as well. When the righteous prosper, the entire city rejoices. When the wicked perish, there is relief and celebration. This shows that righteousness is not just a personal virtue but a communal blessing. The moral choices of individuals ripple outward, affecting families, cities, and nations. The value of restraint, discretion, and faithfulness is emphasized in practical terms. Gossip and slander are condemned, while those who keep confidences are praised. Wisdom is found not in speaking often, but in knowing when to stay silent. Furthermore, guidance and wise counsel are seen as essential for success. Without it, people stumble. With it, there is safety. Financial wisdom is also addressed. Those who guarantee debts for strangers are warned of inevitable suffering, while those who avoid such risks are considered prudent. The text contrasts the gracious and the ruthless, the merciful and the cruel. Kindness, it says, is not only a blessing to others but a benefit to oneself, while cruelty backfires, bringing trouble even to one's own body and soul. Righteousness is portrayed as a seed that yields a reliable reward, whereas wickedness is like deceptive labor, empty and fleeting. Pursuing good leads to life, chasing evil leads to death. God is not indifferent to character. He detests a corrupt heart but delights in those who live blamelessly. Even if the wicked unite, their judgment is certain. Meanwhile, the descendants of the righteous will be delivered, suggesting that righteousness has generational impact. One of the more vivid images in this chapter compares a beautiful woman without discretion to a gold ring in a pig's snout, valuable, but placed foolishly. This graphic metaphor illustrates that beauty without wisdom is wasted, or even grotesque. The desires of the righteous, the text says, are good, while the expectations of the wicked are rooted in wrath. A surprising paradox appears in the teaching that generosity often leads to increase, while hoarding leads to poverty. The one who scatters actually gains more, and the one who refreshes others is himself refreshed. This reveals a divine economy, where blessing comes through giving, not keeping. Withholding resources brings curses, while fair dealing brings blessing and respect. Trust in wealth is portrayed as dangerous. Those who rely on riches will fall, but the righteous will flourish like healthy plants. Causing turmoil in one's own household leads to ruin, while wisdom leads to honor and leadership. The legacy of the righteous is not only enduring but life-giving, a tree of life to others. Those who influence others toward righteousness are called truly wise. The chapter concludes with a sobering thought: if even the righteous face consequences and refinement in this life, how much more will the wicked and sinners be held accountable? This closing verse emphasizes the seriousness of God's justice and reinforces the call to live righteously, not only for the blessings it brings, but to stand blameless before a just and holy God. Proverbs 11 ultimately calls readers to live lives marked by integrity, generosity, humility, and wisdom. It challenges prevailing ideas of success and points to a higher standard, God's standard, by which people and their actions are judged. It is a timeless reminder that righteousness exalts not only individuals but entire communities, and that the path to life, peace, and favor with God is paved with moral courage, self-control, and a heart aligned with divine truth.
Chapter 11. Dishonest scales are an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. When pride comes, then comes shame, but with the humble is wisdom. The integrity of the upright will guide them, but the perversity of the unfaithful will destroy them. Riches do not profit in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivers from death. The righteousness of the blameless will direct his way aright, but the wicked will fall by his own wickedness. The righteousness of the upright will deliver them, but the unfaithful will be caught by their lust. When a wicked man dies, his expectation will perish, and the hope of the unjust perishes. The righteous is delivered from trouble, and it comes to the wicked instead. The hypocrite with his mouth destroys his neighbor, but through knowledge the righteous will be delivered. When it goes well with the righteous, the city rejoices, and when the wicked perish, there is jubilation. By the blessing of the upright the city is exalted, but it is overthrown by the mouth of the wicked. He who is devoid of wisdom despises his neighbor, but a man of understanding holds his peace. A tale-bearer reveals secrets, but he who is of a faithful spirit conceals a matter. Where there is no counsel, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. He who is surety for a stranger will suffer, but one who hates being surety is secure. A gracious woman retains honor, but ruthless men retain riches. The merciful man does good for his own soul, but he who is cruel troubles his own flesh. The wicked man does deceptive work, but he who sows righteousness will have a sure reward. As righteousness leads to life, so he who pursues evil pursues it to his own death. Those who are of a perverse heart are an abomination to the Lord, but the blameless in their ways are his delight. Though they join forces, the wicked will not go unpunished, but the posterity of the righteous will be delivered. As a ring of gold in a swine's snout, so is a lovely woman who lacks discretion. The desire of the righteous is only good, but the expectation of the wicked is wrath. There is one who scatters, yet increases more, and there is one who withholds more than is right, but it leads to poverty. The generous soul will be made rich, and he who waters will also be watered himself. The people will curse him who withholds grain, but blessing will be on the head of him who sells it. He who earnestly seeks good finds favor, but trouble will come to him who seeks evil. He who trusts in his riches will fall, but the righteous will flourish like foliage. He who troubles his own house will inherit the wind, and the fool will be servant to the wise of heart. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he who wins souls is wise. If the righteous will be recompensed on the earth, how much more the ungodly and the sinner?